As a child, you believed you could conquer the world? I stood, feeling the grit beneath my teeth, my plump 10-year-old body ready to compete in the competition at school in South Africa. The excitement mounted. I knew I couldn't do the dive properly. However, I was going to do it because I just loved to fly through the air. I saw my dad sitting in the crowded but expectantly silent stand, beaming with pride. And as my feet left the board, I felt the sting of the water. I flopped the dive. But I saw on my dad's face a smile from ear to ear. And that smile encouraged me to do the next dive and the one after that. At that stage in life, that encouraging smile got me to do so many things again and again. When I lost my dad, my greatest cheerleader, I also lost my joy. But to be perfectly honest, I had struggled with the comparison and expectations of society in everyday life, even while he was still alive. That negativity overshadowed his encouraging smile. And I told myself over and over again, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't pretty enough, and I didn't qualify. I used to go with my dad on his outreach visits for the Lions Club, delivering food parcels. And I was so inspired when I saw the heartfelt connection, the smiles, and the mutual respect over steaming cups of coffee. Didn't need to qualify for this. All you needed to do was really have a humble heart and want to see people better off than when you arrived. I didn't have to be pretty or smart or have any special skills to qualify. But when I went and tried to conquer the world, I was shut down so often by people and circumstances. So I had to latch on to those memories over the steaming cups of coffee and the many lessons my dad had taught me. And I began a life of service. When I would tell my dad I was praying about where I was going to serve, he would ask, "Are you God-bothering again?" And when I would tell him that I had heard from God, in his playful nature, he would say, "Oh, what decoder did you use?" A few years later, I was serving as the secretary at a homeless shelter for destitute children. And people would say, "You can't save the whole world." My response was, "I don't need to save the whole world. I just need to make one person smile and feel seen." A few years after that, we arrived in the USA. I was on a spousal visa, and I found so much value in myself as I volunteered in my community. I was unable to earn financially, legally, because I was on a spousal visa. But you know what? I saw the payoff in the passion for serving, not just to me, but to others as well. A few years later, at the age of 42, okay, it was more than a few years later, At the age of 42, I was confined to a wheelchair after a severe asthma attack. And after 11 years, I was told, "You will never walk again." I felt worthless, unable to do anything for anyone, least of all bring joy. Those feelings from my teen years of inadequacy and disqualification re-emerged. I was inspired to start, at first, reluctantly, a vocational centre in Uganda. But my spirits began to lift as I saw that I could impact others. I could bring value. And what others considered as being my limiting circumstances, in that case this wheelchair, wasn't what restricted my ability to shine bright. I could shine bright anyway. What was restricting and limiting my freedom was my lack of self-belief. Two years ago, with that self-belief, I started a coaching program for women to help them live happier and physically healthier lives through teaching them what I have learned. And that's what I would like to share with you. If we continue to believe the labels of the world, we will not be able to serve anybody, least of all ourselves. However, if we choose to be the best version of ourselves, we will bring joy and impact to our community, ourselves, and in so doing, impact the world at large. I invite you to take a moment out of your day, to take these 3 steps to own your value and shine. Firstly, think of one act of kindness that you can do for a stranger. It could be through a food bank, a smile, or any random act of kindness without judging them. Think of that smile of my dad's. The smallest gesture can make a huge difference. Secondly, write it down as a commitment to yourself and then take the necessary action to follow through on that commitment. And thirdly, make it a daily habit. And then after a week, reevaluate your joy. I bet you'll be surprised by what you notice. If we as individuals begin to recognize our own value and the impact we can have individually and collectively through serving others, regardless of our circumstances, the whole world would be lit up. So I leave you with this one thought. Think about how bringing joy to your community would impact your world, your community. Because after all, community is your boat in the river of life. Own your joy. Listen to your soul, because you don't need, as my dad would say, a decoder to hear it. Thank you.